Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gaming Lounge Podcast, episode 46. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian. And as always, I'm joined by Dory. How's everything going, Dory?
Hello. Our video listeners may notice that my hair is a mess. It's because I exercised twice today. I'm back on that exercise kick. But yeah, doing great. I don't know if I said this already, but I finally got a mouse. So I'm actually able to play old school shooters. So I've been playing Fear. I've been enjoying that a lot. Nobody in that game answers their fucking phone. Everybody goes straight to voicemail. And no one deletes their voicemail either. Anyway, we'll talk about it maybe next week or maybe the week after, depending on how much I have to say about Adamfall. But yeah, this week is real simple. There were two showcases. We're going to talk about two games after that. I'm going to talk about this indie game that came out in 2020, but for some mysterious reason was probably overlooked, possibly due to 2020. And then Seb's going to talk about the what is it called? Deliverance. We're going to talk about the Future Game Show and about the Kind of Funny showcase, and they showed a lot of games between them, and I was interested in about 10 or 15 altogether. I'm not sure how many Seb was, but we'll talk about it, and then we'll get into some game impressions. And other than that, looking forward to Adamfall, which has been getting solid reviews. Mostly, and playing that next week.
So it's spring break for me now. It's officially started, so I'll have a week off. So I want to enjoy some games this week. And also, happy birthday to Resident Evil, which is today is the 29th anniversary of the series. It officially came out in Japan in 1996, so shout out to them. Obviously, if we were going to get an announcement for Resident Evil 9 today, it would have happened already. Just Japan.
Yep.
This is another day at this point, I think. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. But either way, happy birthday to my favorite series of all time in video games. And I just wanted to shout that out. We did a Resident Evil retrospective in the past, so I didn't want to do that on this episode. But go check out that retrospective that we did. Went through the whole series. All right, so as Dory's mentioned, we're going to be talking about two showcases today. We're going to be talking about the Spring Game Showcase from Kind of Funny and The Mix. And we're also going to be talking about the Future Game Show. So we're going to start with the Kind of Funny Showcase, the Spring Game Showcase 2025. This is like an annual series, or annual showcase, I believe. They've done this in previous years.
Yeah.
And they showed a lot of awesome indie games. Last year was not a huge year for me when it comes to indies. I played mostly AAA games. This year, the indies look really good this year, and I probably will be playing a lot of indies this year. I haven't really played many this year yet, but it looks like a lot of big ones are coming out relatively soon in the summertime, especially. So let's talk about them. I have a lot of games in this showcase that I wanted to highlight. Some are going to be longer, some are going to be short, really quick. Not every game got like a huge focus. Like some of them were like 20-second trailers, so we're only going by what we're seeing. Or some of them are just like there's only so much you can say because they're not like humongous games or anything like that. So let's start with our show. Let's start with the very first thing they showed, which was Gunboat God. This was both on Dory's list and mine, and so I'll let Dory start with this. What interests you about it?
Sure. Yeah, I really liked the kind of mid 2000s. I don't know, like toon animated kind of feel it's got going on. I guess during one of the game dev parts, they said that he renders it in 2D and then puts it in the game world or something. I don't remember the exact wording he used, but the art style really appeals to me. The gameplay looks really fun, looks frenetic, reminds me of, a bullet hell or bullet heaven kind of idea.
Yeah.
That both you and the enemies are kind of in a bullet hell state of mind, as it were. Yeah. But yeah, it looks really good. I liked the music too. I actually did play the playtest, but we can talk about that after you talk about what interests you.
Yeah, it has an old school vibe to it in terms of like arcadey, Bullet Storm game. I love the animation; it's really crisp. It looks like an awesome game to play on the Steam Deck. That's what appealed to me. Like it looks like it would be fun to play with portable. and like something to do like when I'm bored. Is that kind of design to it? It just looks like a lot of fun to play. It just looks like a challenging game. It's probably gonna be challenging, but there's so much going on screen. But I really like the whole animation and the art style to it with like the black and white and the mix of 2D and 3D. It's really unique. Not many games are like it, so that's what appealed to me. The art style, especially in the fun gameplay. You said the beta.
Yeah, so there's a playtest, and it's just an open playtest that anyone can join. All I literally just clicked a button and I was in.
Yeah.
So I played it for I want to say about an hour. You can play most of the first world. There are a lot of different challenges. Some of them are like going back and forth between the map. Some of them are closing the void of enemies. Some of them are surviving an onslaught. There are different levels depending on what you want to do and the kind of objectives you'll have. I couldn't beat the last mission on the world. I tapped out. It was really tough. You have to basically how it works in Gunboat God is you have to keep shooting pretty much constantly, as you would imagine. But what that does is it builds up momentum, and you can use that momentum to either go under the water or jump up the water. And the last mission has these waves that just decimates your health if you don't dodge them. And basically every wave that hits you is like honestly for me it was like an insta restart at one point because it was really tough. I couldn't beat it. There is a feedback form, so I put some feedback that like I think accessibility options would be great. I think that there could be either like reduced damage or increased damage or a no fail mode or something like that because this game, like you said, does seem pretty challenging. Obviously, that's up to the developer, but that was my feedback. I liked the game overall. I thought it felt like a solid 7 out of 10 to me. Really liked the animation, as we talked about. The shooting's very crisp and fun, very rewarding. A lot of the sound effects were nice. But yeah, there were some parts of it that I felt were a little unbalanced. The environmental damage that you can suffer from the gunboat or from the icebergs and rocks and stuff do a lot more damage than you'd think, especially compared to the enemies. So that felt a little unbalanced to me, and it led to me not being able to beat the last level on the demo. I was literally at the last level and just couldn't beat it. I think I gave it like 5 tries or maybe more. So, but yeah, overall it was good. It was a good time. I recommend go checking out the playtest. It's open for everybody. Should still be there. Was at least a couple days ago. So yeah, good stuff. I'm interested to see the final product. I hope they add some accessibility features.
All right, moving on to Ghost Sector, which we didn't really get to see much of. It was like 20 seconds, but it had PS1 aesthetics. It had a horror vibe. It was giving me System Shock vibes, and that's pretty much it. It comes out next year. It said wishlist now, so it just caught my eye. Something I will keep an eye on what kind of game it's going to be, but it looks like it's going to be like a first-person horror game, very similar to System Shock. So that's what I just wanted to shout that out. Another game that came right after was Yuka Replayly, which is a remaster, basically a remade. They call it a remaster and a remake and a remixed version of Ukulele, which people generally found pretty good, but what flaws? Seems like this one fixes problems that people had, adding new content. It looks obviously better. It's newer, and it takes us back to Banjo-Kazooie, Nintendo 64 rare days with collectathons. This is up my alley, of course. I never got to play this game actually, so this is my chance to play it now. It appeals to me. I'm not sure if I'm going to be day one on it, but it's something I'll definitely get on sale. I do enjoy this genre of games that's not really much around anymore. And I hope it, as much as I love Banjo-Kazooie, I don't think it ages well for me.
I still really enjoyed Banjo the last time I played it, but there are definitely parts about it that don't really age very well. I never played this either. I thought to myself, "Oh, I love Banjo-Kazooie as a kid. Maybe I'll play it." And then it came out to kind of maybe not middling reviews, maybe that's not the right word, but not glowing reviews, right? So if this changes those and we get some 7s and 8s, I think I'm there. I think I'm with you though. I'm not day one, but I am very interested to see it. It's obviously done by a lot of rare alumni, including I hope I'm going to say this right, Grant Kirkhope. He does incredible music, responsible for a lot of Rare's best music. So yeah, I'm very interested to see how well this goes, how much it improves. The thing that really stood out to me was the improved gameplay. I mean, the graphics are nice, and it's cool that they're adding new content, stuff like that. But really, what a lot of people had an issue with, if I remember correctly, was the gameplay. Because some of the gameplay felt a little clunky, and the camera wasn't super good.
Yeah.
Um, and also, I mean, collectathons just aren't as fun as they used to be. I think a lot of people have grown up, and people just don't have time for collectathons as much anymore. So there's an inherent appeal that Banjo had in the 90s that I don't think it has anymore. But I'm interested to see how this will go, and I hope it'll, work out for them.
For sure. All right, moving on to the next game, Burning Sword, Death Sun. This game stood out because a lot of the games had like a pixel retro PS1 aesthetic or 2D indie game vibes. This one felt the most AAA out of all of them. You can still see the animation being like AA. Like it didn't I'm not saying it looked like super clean. It didn't look like Black Myth Wukong, but it definitely stood out. It had a lot of action, a lot of third-person combat. Looked really fun. I was getting like Sifu vibes. It feels like a Souls game a bit, honestly. A lot of parrying and dodging and things like that. Dory, you put that on your list as well. What drew you into about this game?
Yeah, a lot of the same things that you just said. The gameplay looks really fun. The graphics look clean. Since I like Black Myth Wukong, I thought about maybe giving this a shot. I thought that the presentation was super solid, especially on this show where a lot of games aren't trying to be as bombastic. So this really stands out because of that. I think on a normal show, this wouldn't stand out at all. But because it's on an indie show, I think it stood out a lot better.
Yeah.
So it looks really cool.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. All right, let's move on. That's something
I did play the demo.
Oh, you did? Did you put that on
Yes,
the notes?
I did
Okay.
put that on the
Yeah.
notes.
So how was the demo?
Uh wasn't good.
Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, like look, it's in pre-alpha. I'm not making big sweeping judgments about anything. I don't know if it was my PC or it was the game. It was very poorly optimized. The game did not feel very slick or responsive. It didn't really explain itself super well about how various mechanics worked. It kind of just dropped you in there. There's little tutorials on the top right, but they don't do a lot to really explain it. I also got tired of the combat real quick and just didn't think it was that engaging. This, besides a really batshit awesome title, I don't really know that this game has a lot going for it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I played about like 10 minutes of it and I was thoroughly underwhelmed. Again, it's pre-alpha release stuff, so obviously it's not the final product, but personally it just didn't do much for me. I was about 10-15 minutes in and I'm like, yeah, I don't really care for this. But the trailer was still cool and was still done right, and I think they could definitely improve on the combat and improve on how much they tell, because excuse me, because they don't really explain how the blocks work in terms of the enemies and how you're supposed to most effectively get through it. So I
Yeah.
just felt like I was constantly slashing at enemies, not getting anywhere. And by the time I did get somewhere, I moved on to another enemy because it took too damn long.
Yeah.
So there's definitely stuff to tweak. I wasn't very satisfied with the demo, but like I said, I only played 10 minutes, maybe more.
Okay. All right, you ready to move on now?
Yes.
Okay. So the next game I wanted to talk about was Total Chaos. This also stood out to me because it was like a kind of AAA first person shooter horror game. There was like a lot of monsters running at you with like tongues sticking out. It was like in a basement setting. The gun looked like it was like an old machine gun, so it looked like it took place in like I don't know the 60s or 40s or something. But it stood out with me as well. It was like a horror game in first person. There was like a scene where you're walking through like a cave with and there's like monsters everywhere and you're like sneaking around them
Right.
with a flare. And it looked pretty cool. I'm not saying like I'm day one or anything. I need to see more, but it looked like a fun horror game. It looked pretty
Yeah, I
interesting.
liked this a lot. It looked really cool. The the thing that made me laugh about the trailer was that you could always tell that the devs were playing it because there were these invisible enemies and they would just shoot into nothing. Like I was really paying attention to this trailer
Yeah,
and they would just shoot into nothing. Like you couldn't even tell there was an enemy there. But as soon as they shot, the enemy appeared. I was like, how the hell are you supposed to know that those enemies are there? So
yeah,
hopefully it doesn't work like that in the game, or at least if you're playing, it's a lot clearer. Obviously, we didn't have the exact audio that they're working with, right?
sure.
But it was still a bit frustrating to me. Not frustrating, but funny.
Yeah,
Because I was like, how are you supposed to know? But yeah, it looks really cool. I like the look of it a lot. It
yeah.
looks intense. It looks fun. I don't know if I'm there day one, but it at least interested me. It didn't go on my list because I didn't see enough. It felt like a tech demo kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I need to see more diverse gameplay. But yeah,
Yeah, that was my concern with the game as well. Is like it didn't seem anything mind blowing. It was like but it looked pretty solid. Like even if it's
yes.
an average game, it should be decent. All right, moving on to Bylina. Now this game stood out for me. First of all, the little dance, the Viking dance, that was funny. Um,
Yes, that was very weird. I was like, is this a dancing game?
but it's not. It's a top down like dungeon crawler kind of like not maybe not dungeon crawler, but like a top down action game. You play as a Viking and you're like hacking and slashing enemies. And there's all mechanics like puzzles and like you're following a path to go like over spikes. A lot of dodging like projectiles. It has like the Diablo Path of Exile like top down viewpoint. It looked pretty cool actually. It stood out to me. Something I put on my wish list. It interests me. Comes out on PS5 and Xbox and PC in this year. It just looked pretty. It had a cool vibe to it, so I'm interested in that. I like Viking stuff. Any interest?
Yeah, it didn't do much for me. I did think it was rude that the Viking eventually stabs the other guys that he's dancing with. That doesn't make for a good dance partner. Otherwise, no, I didn't see a lot here that was very interesting to me. But then again, I'm not into those games that you named, so it's no surprise.
Yeah. All right. The next game was also a horror game. It was called Labyrinth of the Demon King. Now they didn't really show much, but from what I saw, it's first person. And it has a PS1 aesthetic, and it was very creepy. It has like a VHS like retro aesthetic to it.
I loved how grimy this game was.
Yeah.
This is another game that wasn't on my list, but I love the aesthetic of it. Very grimy.
Yes. So it can be really scary. But my concern for this game is that typically games that look like this tend to be pretty bad. They look good in a trailer, but when you actually play it, it's kind of like
I
shovelware.
can't imagine the combat's that satisfying.
Because these games tend to be shovelware, and then the title, like the cover, the title basically looks like something they did on like Microsoft Paint. Like I'm not. Like, it just looked kind of generic. So that kind of didn't make me really excited about it. But I'm keeping my eye on it. Hopefully, it's a pretty good game. But the main thing that interests me was that how creepy it was and the grimy aesthetic to it. All right. The next game I wanted to talk about was as a Moray.
Moray, I think.
Anyway, um, again, top down view, dungeon crawler. It was like a side scroller or two. I just like the aesthetic as well. It reminded me of Path of Exile and Diablo as well. This game more so than the other one. It looked pretty cool. I know this is not Dory's kind of game, but for me,
No.
looked pretty cool. Look, again,
Yeah.
these are all great Steam Deck games for me to
Yeah.
play.
I did like the aesthetic. I did like the narration. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on games that are always like, well, you don't know, it could kill you or it could help you. And I always find that kind of frustrating from a
Yeah,
gameplay perspective. But I did like it overall, or I did like some of what I saw anyway. But you're right. The genre is not for me. So
yeah. All right, so the next one was Phase Zero, which is totally my kind of game. I mean, this is a pure PS1 tribute to Resident Evil. Like it's full on a tribute. I mean, first of all, the very first part of the trailer says this game contains scenes of explicit violence and gore. And if if you play any of the old school Resident Evil games, you immediately know that title screen. Like that's what we always got, and so it's going for the whole tribute. Well, not even just like Resident Evil, but like any PS1 survival horror game. And it is my kind of game. I love the aesthetic, the art style, the fixed camera angles. Everything about this just looks appealing. It's probably gonna be like our inventory management, fixed cameras. This is up my alley.
Yeah, definitely is for you. I saw this and I was like, oh, it's another RE1/2/3 kind of game. And yeah, that's definitely what's going on here. Not for me, but it looks cool. I like the aesthetic. Again, very grimy, very PS1/2-ish. And looks cool, but I can't stand the fixed camera angle stuff.
Yeah. Which is why I was curious that you put post-trauma on your list, because post-trauma...
I couldn't figure out if that was fixed camera or not, because at first I was like, okay, this isn't for me because it's fixed camera, but then I saw a boss fight and the camera seemed to be following him. Well, so I was confused.
I mean, I've watched streamers play this game. I mean, the people play it, like, I think it's a demo. Came out. This is the game I was telling you about like a couple weeks ago. Check it out. It's giving me like PS2 horror vibes, like Silent Hill 2 or 3, more so than like a PS1 aesthetic.
Yes.
I was definitely getting Silent Hill 3 vibes with the train and being a subway station, things like that. Plays like an old man in this case. I've watched the combat. I've seen the gameplay like plenty. I've watched people play it. There was like it's very Silent Hill. It's puzzle heavy. You get to solve whatever a puzzle, a riddle. And the combat is very much so like Resident Evil, like Silent Hill, where like you bash monsters with like a crowbar or a piece of wood or something. The combat wasn't amazing. It was kind of janky. But it felt like old school Silent Hill janky. It was like it's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. I don't think this game's gonna be anything amazing, but it's something I'll probably enjoy for one playthrough. So this appealed to me. It's been on my wish list for a while since I've seen it. Because I follow all the horror, like survival horror channels that talk about like Resident Evil and Silent Hill, and they stream games and stuff, and then they always stream like Resident Evil clones and Silent Hill clones, and that's how I find all these games. And because this is one of my favorite genres, so this is up my alley. I was just surprised that Dory put it on her list because this
yeah, I was confused. I saw some fixed stuff and I saw some non-fixed stuff, so it just kind of. Also, one of the other reasons is it's distributed by Raw Fury, and they did the Backbone, or not Backbone. What are those games called? Tales Noir. They did the Tales Noir games.
Is it the
so I just reckon. Yes, the raccoon where you're a detective.
Yeah.
So I was like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. I was like, oh, Raw Fury, I know them. I also just like the look of the game. I thought it looked really cool, but if it's fixed camera angle, I'm probably not interested. But I did like the trailer, and yeah, again, I was confused by it, so that's why it was on my list. But I'm quickly removing it.
Fortunately, the next game is definitely a Dory game. Seance of Blake Manor. You play as a detective, and he's going to investigate in a mansion. And
also by Raw Fury, or not by them, but distributed by them. Just pointing out.
Now, there's a lot of narrative choices, a lot of like Disco Elysium, narratives on the right side, picking choices, narrative choices, fix the end, show the ending of the game, and things like that. This is like the definition of a Dory game. So I'll let Dory.
Yeah, as soon as bro, I was 5 seconds into this trailer, and I'm like, I'm in. Fuck it, I'm in. Actually, I was like. They were like, oh, like you're a detective. I'm like, yes. Like you've seen some shit. I'm like, yes. And they're like, you're a very pious man. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess, whatever, sure, I'll let that go. Not that that's an inherently bad thing, but just like it doesn't get me excited. But yeah, I mean, this looks incredibly up my alley. I love the animation. I love the clues. I love some amounts of puzzles I don't mind. There's obviously some decisions you need to make. I've already wishlisted it. I'm very excited for this game. You're basically trying to solve a murder. There's some spoopy elements that are going on. Like Seb said, there's some dialogue and stuff like that. I don't know if there's any voice acting or anything. It's an indie, so probably not. But yeah, I'm very curious how this is going to play. It looks really cool. It's the Seance of Blake Manor. I almost said blank. And we don't know. Do we know exactly when it's coming out? No, it just says wishlist now. But yeah, definitely a me game.
Yes. All right, the next game I have no idea, so I'll let Dory talk about it. I have no mouth and I must scream. I didn't. It didn't really show anything. I mean, I know
I didn't.
it feels like satire or whatever. So I think they were doing something with it, but I just didn't know what the hell it was.
So this is a. I'm not any kind of expert on the author, but I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is originally a short story by Harlan Ellison, and they made a '90s point and click game based on that horror short story. And I've seen some game clips from it. It's very fucked up, and it's very I don't know. It's a very messed up short story that they somehow turned into a full length game. Now I don't know if this is a remake or a remaster or they're just updating. I don't know what it is because we didn't get any details. But yeah, it's a horror game. It's originally based on a post-apocalyptic short story by Harlan Ellison, like I said. And right now, actually, you can get the original for like $3. It's got very positive reviews too. But yeah, it's pretty messed up. I mean, don't play this game if you're squeamish about I don't know anything.
Sure.
But yeah, it's apparently coming at some point, and it kind of lives on through the meme of I have no mouth and I must scream, because people sometimes like reference that title when they're like making jokes or whatever. But yeah, I was just surprised that Seb didn't know anything about this. But yeah, it's not a parody or a comedy or anything. It's very, very horror.
Okay.
I would be surprised if they did anything even remotely funny with it, unless it was like dark comedy.
Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna be like, like one of those things where they know it's a game and they just like try to be funny about it, like
No, it's definitely
like an RPG game that we're gonna be talking about.
they're playing it. They're playing it straight. This is.
Okay.
I mean, unless unless it's a remake and they're changing the tone entirely.
Okay.
But the short story is pretty fucked up, and the video game based on it was pretty fucked up too.
Oh,
so.
okay. Yeah. I just need to see something about it. That's just not that doesn't sell me on the game.
Sure.
It just feels like something you just see for 10 seconds and then you move on to the next game. Anyway, moving on. Let Them Come, Onslaught. Now, like, this is a typical Vampire Survivor kind of clone, basically. Everybody's doing these kind of games, but it looked really fun. The aesthetic was cool. The animation was really fun. Like, the RPG elements looked really cool. I like the skill tree. That looked appealing. It's just like a fun game to play, like on my Steam Deck. That's the main reason I wanted to shout it out. I like the animation to it and just like a fun game. Comes out this year, so it's something I would wish list to get it on sale. This is the kind of game I'd buy on like a spring sale, winter sale kind of thing.
Yeah, it just reminded me that I needed to play Kill Knight, and I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, yeah. So that's pretty much it. Moving on to the Cold Abyss directors. It was a director's cut. This appealed to me too. It has once again PS1 horror aesthetic, but this one's under the sea. This is one of my like fears, honestly, and it just it was giving me what do you call it? What's that game? It takes place in
Abzu or
no. The horror
not
one.
Abzu.
Why am I forgetting?
Subnautica.
No, was it? No, not Subnautica. Now it's bothering me if I don't figure this out. Horror game underwater. Soma.
Soma, okay.
Yeah. It's giving me like that, but like PS1 graphics, and it looks like a really creepy game. So I wanted to shout it out. This is a big show for like PS1 horror games. They're getting like really no, I won't say really popular, but they're getting generally popular on Steam. Like I keep seeing people playing new and more PS1 aesthetic horror games. It's a niche genre, but it's gaining steam, pun intended, on Steam. So, Next game I want to talk about was Double Dragon Gaiden: Rise of the Dragons DLC. I still gotta play this game, but I just want to shout out because I love beat 'em ups, and this looks like a lot of fun. Again, this looks like a fun Steam Deck game. This is why I have a Steam Deck. It looks really fun to play. I'm sure Dory has no interest because she doesn't like beat 'em ups, but I'll let her say that.
Yeah,
Dory,
I did. Sorry, I did see that. The Double Dragon one. I
yeah,
wasn't really grabbed by it. It's not my genre.
no worries. And then the next game I want to shout out was Shadow of the Road, which looked really cool because it was like a
I like
CRP.
this one.
It was like a CRPG,
Yeah.
but like in feudal Japan. And I was digging the art style, and I was digging the combat. It's not different kind of game. Usually, CRPGs take place like in fantasy or science fiction, but in this case, it's more like a historical game, and it looked cool.
Yeah, I'm actually going to replace Post Trauma with Shadow of the Road. I'm surprised I didn't put that on my list. I actually really dug it when I saw it, so I think I just forgot to put it on there.
In the alpha, you can play in 3 days.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks. You have any thoughts before I move on about it, or?
I just no, I really. At first I was like, okay, what's going on here? Like, what kind of game do we have here? And I like what I saw. I mean, it's a CRPG kind of vibe, like you said, and you've
Yeah.
got all the kind of face icons up at the top, similar to Baldur's Gate. The skill trees, different party members. So yeah, I'm definitely going to play that alpha if I can.
All right. The next game was The Legend of Babu. Now, this game's always appealed to me since I saw it at the Xbox show, the indie show we had a couple weeks ago, I think it was. Um, this is my kind of game. I love 3D platformers. I love like 3D adventures, where you platform and you have like a dog companion. I hope the dog doesn't die at the end, because they love killing the dog at the end of dog-focused movies and games. I was getting massive Kana vibes as I did before. This does kind of feel like great value Kana. I ain't gonna lie, but I don't really have a problem with that because it's my kind of genre. It does show its jankiness a bit. It does show that it's more indie than AAA, but I think it looks cool and it's something I'll probably get. If not day one, something I'll get on sale. But it really looks appealing to me. Any interest
Yeah, this didn't do a lot for me. I didn't get any Kana vibes,
with the
but I
staff?
can see
Right. Yeah,
what's that?
because the staff and like the combat.
Right, right. I didn't notice that myself, but I can see where you're coming from with that in terms of the staff and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of games. My goodness, I'm trying to catch up to where you are.
Well, the
Okay, I think it's this one.
Well, somebody put a timestamps on all the video games, so I just hit the timestamp. And
Yeah, I was looking for that in the comments. I couldn't find it. I might be on a different video though.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the Legend of. Is that the Legend of Babu we're talking about?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I have seen this before. It looks cool, but I didn't. I don't know. I didn't like take a lot from it in terms of the combat or in terms of much else. It looks interesting, but I don't know that I'm like super interested in it, especially because I thought Kana was pretty good, and if this is like a step down from Kana, it's like I don't really know how much enjoyment I get out of it.
yeah. Well, I thought Kano's problem was it was difficult, like too difficult at times for that kind of game. I didn't really care for the gameplay in terms of like how difficult the parrying was and stuff for Kano. I mean, so hopefully it's
Right.
nothing like that.
Yeah, the difficulty spikes on Kana were ridiculous and
That was my
very
biggest problem.
frustrating.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
biggest problem with it. All right. So the next game was Hirogami, which I thought looked really cool. That's a really cool aesthetic. Yeah, I know I'm saying that word a lot, but it literally you play as like origami characters that can shift into different things. Like you can they turn like a frog, and they turn like soldiers. They turn into paper, just floats in the wind. The platforming looks really cool. This is definitely something that stood out to me. This is something I'll definitely check out when it comes out. It's like a lot of fun for me, and it comes out this year. Any appeal for you?
It didn't do much for me. I mean, I'm a noted like I'm a person who's pretty mixed on platforming, so this didn't do a lot for me, but I do love the aesthetic, like you said, and I think it's a really cool concept. You don't see a lot done with origami in video games, so I think that's really neat. But platforming's not really my forte for the most part, but I do think it looks cool, and I like its overall general art style and the way it uses origami.
Yeah. Also, speaking of origami, we got like a paper game. Basically, it was called Castle Bound. It was like a side scroller Paper Mario game, basically.
Yeah.
It's such a unique aesthetic. It looked really fun, especially if you have like a co-op partner or whatever. It looks like a fun game to play with your friends. I mean, the gameplay didn't look anything phenomenal, but like I just love the aesthetic and the vibe so much that like this was like a really fun game to play for a couple hours. Like this game was like 4 hour like fun game with friends. Like this would be a blast to play. I just love everything about it. I think even the animation looks clean.
It looked very cute, but
Yeah.
it didn't appeal to me much, but it looks very cute. I do like the art style, very cartoony.
Yeah. All right, and then next game was Once Upon a Puppet. Now this is a game we saw twice at both showcases. They showed the exact same trailer, I believe, basically. This also appeals to me. Again, word aesthetic comes to mind. This gives giving me like that Nightmare Before Christmas vibe again. I like this, like there's like a dark world. I'm forgetting the name of it with the game with the dice we talked about before. Lost in Random.
Right, I know what you're talking about.
Lost in Random. And
Yes.
and it also reminded me like the Puppeteer, of course, on the PS3. It has like a Pinocchio vibe to it too. I know obviously it's a puppet, but it was giving me like that Italian carnival vibe to it, which like obviously Pinocchio has, and it looked really cool. I like again, I like platformers, and it has like a dark aesthetic, like Little Nightmare kind of vibe to it too.
Yes, I definitely got some Little Nightmare vibes from this.
Yeah, so this is up my alley. So this is my kind of game. What about you?
Yeah, not really for me. Again, not super into platformers, but I did love the. Gonna have to keep saying the word. I did love the aesthetic. I thought it looked really cool. I like that we're in this kind of, I don't know, maybe not renaissance, but it feels like more and more we're having these games that are based on puppets or clay or these kind of handmade elements. I really like that that's coming back.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, the next game was Shotgun Cop Man. Now this was on Dory's list. This was not personally on mine. This doesn't appeal to me at all. But I'll let Dory start first. I don't want to start off with the negative.
Wow, this is ridiculous. So Seb is telling me that he doesn't want to go into this is a very simple mission, Seb. Go to hell, kill Satan. That's it. And that's a simple mission. Actually, this was my favorite. This was my favorite demo that I played out of all of them, ironically. I was not sure I would like this game. I had already seen IGN post some trailers of it, so some of y'all might already be familiar with it. It's very wacky. It's from the same people who did My Friend Pedro. If you know that, that's the one with the banana and the kind of shooting and whatever. Yeah. So this is from those same people.
It's Devolver.
It's very movement based, and you kind of use your shotgun and your pistols to move around. You also get a submachine gun. There are boss fights. You have to avoid buzzsaws and move around. You can go for a speed run time if you want. I think this is going to be big, not for me personally, but this is going to be big in the speed running community. I think if they can get enough exposure and enough critical reviews, a lot of people. I mean, it explicitly rewards you for getting a faster time, or at least it gives you cool looking symbols. I don't know if it translates into anything in the game, but basically, like you can only 100% the game if you speed run all the levels. So.
Sure.
Yeah, and the other two are like not getting hit and killing all the enemies. All the guns felt really responsive. I liked how they all felt. If you get hit, you just have to get your heart back basically so you don't die. And so you can basically take 2 hits. And then if you do take a hit, you also lose the gun upgrade that you have. You always have a shotgun, you always have a pistol. So the pistol's always on this one, and the shotgun's always on this one. And you mostly use the shotgun to move around, hence why it's Shotgun Cop Man. But you can use the pistol to do little tiny hops. So the demo was really cool. Every time Shotgun Cop Man dies, he goes, "I die." That is very funny. So very wacky, very weird game. Obviously, you're going into hell. He just casually goes into hell pretty much within 5 minutes, and you're
Yeah.
fighting demons pretty much immediately. So obviously, not a very super serious game. But yeah, I mean, Seb is siding with Satan, so everybody jot that down in the notes.
Yeah. My thing is I like 3D platforms. I don't like the super hard 2D platformers like Super Meat Boy kind of thing where it's like
Sure.
I don't like that like frantic gameplay where like one mistake and you hit the spike and die and restart over and over and over and over. Those are the kind of game I'm very patient, but those are the kind of games that frustrate me.
I will say I'm very similar to you on that. I gave up on Celeste, Trans Icon Celeste, and
I beat that, but I did yeah that was not my kind of game either.
yes, but those kind of games are not my games either. But I will say the checkpointing is very forgiving.
Okay.
Anytime I died, it took me back only like I would say less than a minute from where I was, or
Yeah.
less than 30 seconds from where I was. So I found the checkpointing very forgiving. I did find it annoying that he says I die every time he dies, and there's no way to skip that. So
Yeah.
that is annoying. I don't know why they kept that in, or at least you should be able to skip it. It
Yeah.
was funny the first couple times, and I didn't die a ton,
Sure.
but I did die, obviously more than a few times. So it does get a little annoying. But yeah, I found the checkpointing very forgiving
Sure.
personally. So I think I'm willing to give it a shot. Haha. And I'll see what reviews say, but I did like the demo. It was my favorite demo. I would honestly say this feels like an 8 out of 10 for me. But yeah, it's not my typical genre, not my typical kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, if you get it on Steam, I'll definitely try it. That would because we share our library. It doesn't appeal to me, but it's something I will try out for free if I'm able to do that. All right, next game I wanted to shout out was Rataton. We talked about this already on when we talked about the Xbox Indie Showcase. It basically showed the same gameplay for the most
Yes, it
part.
did. Very
But
catchy.
yeah, I mean, obviously this is the spiritual successor to Patapon, which is a forgotten PlayStation franchise. It's a rhythm game. It's a roguelike. The main thing again is that the art style and the animation look really cool. It looked really clean and appealing. It just looks like a cool game. I'm not saying I'm definitely gonna get it, but I just wanted to shout it out because it looked cool. I just need. I was this is a game I would need to play the demo for, see if I liked it or not. I know Patapon, but I haven't played that in like in ages. I want to see it on the PSP.
Step to the step to the step to the step. Da,
So
da, 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 da. Sorry, it was so catchy.
yeah, it looks cool. I just need to try it out. I don't remember. Does this appeal to you or no?
Not
The
really,
roguelike part
but
is what concerns me. I'm not into that kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah, not really. It's not my kind of game, but I do think it looks really cool, and it was very catchy. Dun 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 dun. So I did like the music. I thought that was very catchy.
Yeah. And then the final game that I have on my list was Scaravan 66. First of all, I like the art style. It stood out from the rest of the games in this showcase. It had like it had obviously like Halloween vibe to it. It
Yes,
had like ghosts and skeleton and like card mechanic combat with like a really unique art style. It had like Mad Max vibes to it because it feels like a very card driven game. You're
yes.
literally fighting like I mean I think it's the whole game basically. You're in a car and you're shooting like all different types of monsters. There was like
Kind of
a
drenched in like this Miami neon, but
yeah
like with like a darker shade. It reminds me of that Scooby Doo movie, 13 Ghosts, where Shaggy has to like get in a race with Scooby and Shaggy have to get in a race with Dracula while Shaggy's turning into a werewolf. I don't know if anyone remembers that movie, but I remember that movie. I watched it a lot as a kid. Anyway, there is a lot of car combat in that movie for some fucking reason, and that's what this reminds me of.
yeah. This is giving me like I don't know Hotel Transylvania kind of like it has like a cool like these need to come out in October. Like this feels like a fun
Yes.
Halloween kind of game. Like that'll get me in the mood for Halloween. I would be disappointed if this doesn't come out in Halloween. But I mean, I guess I could just get it in October. But I hope it does come out this year. It doesn't say when it's coming out though. It just says wishlist now. But I just love the whole aesthetic to it. All right, and that concludes our show for this showcase. That concludes like I don't think anything else appealed to me pretty much. I mean, obviously there's a lot of great games, but I think we hit on a lot of games in the showcase. Surprising amount, honestly. Usually
Yeah.
these shows only like 3 to 4 games come out that interest me. Like they show and I had like over 20 games that interested me.
Yeah.
The
I had 6 or 7, but still a good amount for me.
the common theme for me was horror games and platformers. Like so, obviously you can tell some of my favorite genres from the show that like most of my picks were had like a cool cartoony aesthetic, or they had a really cool horror vibe, whether it was PS1 or PS2 like tributes. But like every game pretty much fit my kind of genre. Obviously, I've been gaming for so long, I know what I like. So I was a happy gamer with this showcase. A lot of games to wish list. Not saying I'm buying every game day one, but definitely enough to appeal to me. All right, moving on to one showcase to another. This one has a lot of games as well, so sit down and get some popcorn because we got another 40-minute conversation. Although we're gonna be talking more in detail on some of these games because obviously a lot of these games were on the other end where it was mostly AAA games and not just tiny indie games. We actually
Also,
got
shout out they had to the host. They had Nolan North and Jennifer English. I also want to shout out. We forgot to talk about it, but Good Old Games highlighted a preservation thing.
no,
I
that's
believe they did.
no, that was this show. So
No, that's this one.
that was the
Okay, I
first
thought
thing
it
I
was
put
the other
up.
one.
Yeah, that was the first thing I
Yeah.
put on the list. I wanted
Okay,
to
okay.
get that
So we're
out.
going to talk about that. But shout out to Jennifer English and Nolan North, who were legitimately funny hosts and were very engaging. But yeah, God's favorite princess, Jennifer English. God bless her.
No worries. So I'll start with, as Dory mentioned, GOG's preservation program. Obviously, they're preserving video games, uh, which is very important. Obviously, because like we don't want games to be lost forever. A lot of games are hard to access nowadays, and obviously, when you want to buy games, getting games physically is not always possible anymore, or it's very hard. Or if you do get them, it's like $500 overcharged, and it's quite difficult to play old games unless you play on an emulator. But not everybody wants to play an emulator, right? Some people like to have the digital of the physical version, but even the emulated version could be different. Actually, well, is it are emulators hard to find? I guess, but I don't know. Either way, there's some games that are hard to access. Basically, what I'm saying, and it's important that we preserve games, especially nowadays where like digital is the main focus. So Dory, what about this appealed to you? Like, do you use GOG a lot? Like, are you playing older
I don't even
games?
use GOG. I just think this is a really cool initiative, and they really like capitalized on having this kind of captive market to talk about their their program here. I don't really I've been pretty open about not particularly liking the company involved with GOG, but I do appreciate what they're doing here. I think preservation is really important, and not enough places are doing it. So this was a real simple
Especially the big.
this was a real simple thing to include on the show that I felt was really important.
Yes, I'm not a big GOG gamer, but I do like respect the notion to preserve games. I have played Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 this year on the GOG version, and I beat all three of them. And then I still have to get Dino Crisis. So I'm glad that Capcom's preserving their games, even though I would have loved if they were on Steam, but it's another conversation. But I love that they're preserving games. Like that's very important. That's the main thing I got out of it. Doesn't really appeal to me like personally, but I just love that I just love the preservation of games. All right, so now let's get into actual games. Obviously, Clear Obscure Expedition 33. We talked about it 5,000 times. It's probably gonna be Dory's game of the year, and if it's not, it's gonna be a big disappointment, I suppose. The way she's hyping it up. But the main obviously they had the host was like literally in the game, and she was the main focus of this particular trailer. So let me get to the timestamp. Okay, so we just got more insight to a character. Was her name Mael? Was it? I'm forgetting. What was her name?
Mail? No, not Mail. Uh,
My,
yeah, Mile. I forget
I
too.
can't listen to the audio while we're doing the podcast. But if they said
Yeah.
it, yeah. But either way, obviously they showed more gameplay. Uh, there's a lot of traversal, a lot of like platforming, but then they also sort of like turn-based combat, which also obviously looks pretty and awesome, as we talked about a million times. But this game looks awesome. It comes out next month. I'm really excited for it. Comes out on Game Pass and PlayStation and Steam. Dory, what do you have to say about this game? Obviously, this is your most anticipated game so far.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm trying to hear Jennifer English's beautiful voice. Shut up, Seb. No, I'm kidding. I just want to hear.
Let's just all sit in silence while she listens to the video.
Sorry, Jennifer, talk faster. She doesn't say it.
Yeah, I don't think even the captions. I don't. It doesn't really help me either. Anyway, so what about this game?
Yeah, it is my ill. Anyway, she says it at the end. I I don't know. I mean, what more can I really say? I don't really have a ton to say about this game at this point
We said everything.
because I've said everything. I mean, it's my most highly anticipated game of the year. I think it looks great. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't really want to take up too much time here because we've said everything. I love Jennifer English. I'm glad she's in the game. Ben Starr's in it too. They got Charlie Cox in it somehow. There's just it's a crazy voice cast, and I'm really excited for it. I don't have much else to say, honestly. I'm very excited for the game. I don't necessarily know that, it's something big could happen, something huge could happen, and maybe it's not my game of the year, or maybe there are little things about it I don't like that holds it back compared to something else. But I haven't even gotten a 5 out of 5 this year. So, I mean, I know we're only in March, but yeah, I'm very excited for it. I don't have much else to say, and I'd rather talk about other games at this point.
All right, so let's talk about Animal Use Protocol, which looks like the brand new game. It had, first of all, it had a talking chimpanzee and a talking mouse, and the chimpanzee was carrying a gun with the mouse on top of it. And this is definitely a horror game. It's giving me Half-Life vibes with the gravity gun. Like this looks like more of a horror, like a full-on horror game more so than like an action horror game, because like you're mostly getting chased and there's stealth, and like it just gives me like maybe Doom 3 vibes. It just looks like it does look like a pure horror game more than anything. Like like the guns in the game, but like it looks like most of the game is you running away, hiding. It looks very frantic. It's gonna be a scary game. Dory, what about this appealed to you? Because this is on your list.
Yeah, I really liked the kind of back and forth between the two characters. I loved the graphics. It looked really good. I think it was an interesting kind of horror game with some puzzles and physics-based puzzles specifically. I guess it's the people behind Stasis, like we said. I don't know a lot about that game, but I liked what I saw. So I don't I mean I don't have like it's not like number one on my list, right? Obviously that's clear obscure. But I did like what I saw, and I liked the dialogue and the writing and kind of
Yeah.
the pace of like running from something and trying to escape and doing that through physics-based puzzles. I thought it looked interesting and it caught my eye. I don't know about the title. I would think I would have just preferred it saying Animal Protocol or something, or but I one of the things too that it reminded me of the elephant aliens in Mass Effect 1, because I think it's the monkey, or it might be the thing with the monkey, but they were like, serious concern, please run now. Like they're saying their intonation before they say the words. I always really like that trope.
Yeah. I know. Obviously, this game's got to be like a commentary on animal testing, I would assume, and like probably like the mutants are like human designed. But like normally this kind of game doesn't appeal to me. Like in terms of like I'm not a big fan of first person horror that like you're always like stealthing and running away. Like Amnesia, I respect them. But generally I like third person horror games. But I will definitely. I already have this. I wishlist this game already. It appeals to me. I'll try it. I'll keep my eye on it, and if it looks great, I'll get it. All right. Next game was Onimusha 2, which I've already talked about, so I won't go into too much detail. Obviously, the big thing was they had a hell mode, that I have no interest in doing because you get hit one time and you die. So screw that. But obviously, I've talked about this before. I want to get it. It comes out in May. It's a cool remaster. I'm gonna play the first game too before this game comes out. And Onimusha, I'm glad it's making a comeback. Thank God Capcom is bringing back old IPs. Just bring back Dino Crisis, please. Dory, I'm assuming you have nothing to say for this, so
I
go
have
ahead.
nothing to say about this.
All right, cool. So let's move on to Nitro Gen Omega, which right there. Now you played the demo, right?
I think it's more accurate to say I tried the demo. I could not make heads or tails of what was happening, why it was happening, and I'm more into tabletop RPG. Um, so I'm definitely it feels like, and I grew up on Megas XLR. This felt like a tribute to Megas XLR mixed with
Yeah,
like
that's what appealed to
Gundam.
me. That's what appealed to me.
Yeah, I really like the animation style. I really like the music. So I like the presentation,
Yeah,
but the gameplay seemed inscrutable to me. I think spent 3 different phases. So basically, the combat's formed in split into the planning phase and then the resolution phase.
yeah,
And the planning phase is you just having, putting all of your actions together from your 4 crewmates,
yeah.
and then the resolution phase, how it all plays out. So you get like kind of bespoke animated scenes of the robots, the mechs going after each other. So I just couldn't hit my enemy, and I took like 3 different turns, and I don't know what happened. I couldn't
Sure.
figure out this game, how to play it. I think after like less than 30 minutes, I gave up.
Yeah.
So maybe it's great. I don't know. I'll tell you, the animation and the music is great, but everything else, I couldn't figure out the gameplay. And I'm like the target audience for this. So
What
if
kind?
I can't figure it out,
Yeah.
I don't really know who's going to be able to figure it out.
I mean, what kind of gameplay is this? Because they didn't show any gameplay really.
It's turn-based. It's turn-based RPG, and everything plays out in kind of cutscenes after you do all the actions, and it's kind of a back and forth. But I don't know, for some reason, I could never figure out how to hit my enemy, and I don't really know.
Okay. And when you say turn-based, you mean like an RPG kind of turn-based, or is it
Yeah, it's
or is it
like turn-based
CRPG?
RPG. Yeah,
Like,
yeah, like turn-based RPG.
okay, because they didn't show that at all, and I was like, I need to see some gameplay for this. But the thing that just stood out to me, obviously, the animation looked cool, but the character models look cheap to me. Like they look kind of
They
like,
don't look good.
yeah, they look very indie, like I don't know, like a YouTuber animation. But I can get past that point because the idea of like building a crew and customizing your own merch and your own mech and all that sounds awesome. But if the gameplay is not great, then it doesn't appeal to me. I don't know. I had it on my list, but I'm very unsure about this game because I just need to see some. I need to try it out myself, I suppose. But so there's not really not much to go on yet because you really you didn't sound, it doesn't sound like you loved the game because you just said because the gameplay was
I just
confusing.
couldn't figure it out. I mean, maybe I would have liked it a lot more if I could have fucking figured out how to damage my enemy, which was like the basic part of it. I tried to do a side quest. I couldn't even finish it. I just gave up.
Yeah.
So I need them to, like, similar to I thought there was another game that was like this, but maybe not. Oh yeah, the sword game that we talked about earlier, Death Sun. I think that they could have made it a bit clearer how to play this game because I just kept whiffing every single time. Eventually, I got tired of it. I'm like, no, I'm done.
Got you. All right, let's talk about the remake of The End of the greatest RPG of all time. Obviously, that's a goated title.
That is an amazing title. I can't believe they're remaking Final Fantasy VII already. I mean, that's crazy.
More like Final Fantasy 6. But I like the whole concept of this game, right? Like you start out like at the end, basically the end of the RPG where you have all the items already unlocked. Like you already have all, you're like high level already. It just feels like awesome, like satire, like awesome, like a tribute to like RPGs, like stuff like you'd only get if you like really like this genre, which I do. And I love the 2D and 3D mix. I've been a huge fan of that, that modern aesthetic that people keep going for nowadays with Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy and all these like JRPGs. And this feels right at home. This game looks really good. I love how funny the developers were. They were all
Yes.
playing on the joke. It was great. It was really
This
appealing.
this this was really cool. I really like this. The title is amazing, of course. Doesn't even fit on the Steam page when you look it up. So I thought that was awesome. I've already added it to my wish list. I'm very interested in this. There's some kind of like a meta story about who made the game and what happened to it and how come it kind of gives me Tenacious D vibes. The greatest when they have their tribute song to the greatest rock song ever made, but they couldn't remember it, so they just kind of made it up
Yeah.
or whatever. So I just really excited for this game. It looks really cool. I like the polygonal kind of take on the graphics, very old school retro vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked great. This game is also on my wish list, and I'm definitely interested in checking it out. All right. Another game that we both had on our list, I believe, was I Hate This Place. Which was
Yes.
like a top down, like it was like a twin stick shooter where you face a bunch of enemies in a dark setting, some mostly in a forest, like fungus and stuff. You fought like demonic like deer and animals basically. It, it it looks like a lot of fun. I really like this. I love the aesthetic, as the word we keep saying. It looked really cool. It's up my alley. Dory, what about it appealed to you?
I really like the cartoony kind of vibe from it. It gave me kind of Newgrounds
Yeah,
feel.
some
I really
Skybound
like,
too.
yeah, it reminded me of the Evil West game I played a
Yeah,
couple years ago, and that was really fun. So I got similar kind of vibes from that with the top-down isometric shooting. You can throw Molotov cocktails. There seems to be a day-night system. Obviously, it's very horror focused. I really liked it, and you can fight deer too, which apparently is cool. So yeah, I also really like that it's like fight horrors beyond your comprehension.
yeah,
A deer,
yeah. I know.
but yeah, a really cool title.
Yeah, I mean, I personally have never read the comic books, but it looks like it's cool. Obviously, it's from Skybound, people that made Invincible and things like that. So, in The Walking Dead. So, this definitely appeals to me. At first I didn't catch it. My first watch of the show, but when I rewatched it, it definitely caught my eye. It looks really cool. That's on my wish list. All right, Once Upon a Puppet, we already talked about, so we can skip that one. Obviously, a really cool game. All right, Death Ground. Okay, Death Ground looked really cool to me. I did not expect that game. Let me pull it up. Where's Death Ground? There it is. All right, so it's a
Gives me some Jurassic Park vibes.
yes, and that's why I really liked it because like a horror game with dinosaurs looks really cool. And if
Man, wouldn't it be awesome if Capcom made a game like
I
that? If only.
know, I know, it's scratching that Dino Crisis itch. Although this is more like first person, like it's giving me like Alien Isolation vibes more. So it's probably more stealth, running away based than like fighting the actual dinosaurs. But it looked really cool. It looked AAA to an extent, but it looked high quality. It looked scary. I mean, we don't have a lot of dinosaur games with like a horror vibe to it. You know what I mean? Like we get a lot of dinosaur games, but they never feel like this. This feels like a true horror game.
Yeah.
This is my up my alley. Obviously, I've been talking about horror games all day today, and it looks really cool. Any appeal for you?
I thought it looked interesting, but it doesn't do a lot for me. I'm not as much into those horror games where you can't fight back.
I'm not either, but
So
but dinosaurs though,
I
decent.
I know. I know. Trust me, I understand. And then Nolan North did the fucking take off his glasses meme from.
The first
So
one.
good stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, not really for me.
no worries. Okay, so Kingmaker's out. I've had my eye on this game for a
This
while.
was cool. Can I talk about how cool this was? It's ironically not on my list, but a very cool looking game because you get to their selling point at the beginning. I actually have a friend who's Welsh, so this was very funny. I sent this to him very quickly. I was like, Adam, you can kill the English and defend like Welsh honor, and he's like, you can what? And he was very excited. So I love this just on that basis alone. I thought that was the whole game for a second, but I guess you go through various time periods with modern weaponry and you turn the tide of various fights. Going to be real controversial when you turn some tides in 1944, but I digress. But anyway, Yeah, so I just really like the look of this. It's not on my list because it's not my kind of game, but I did like the way that they were selling it. I thought it was really impressive, really ambitious for an indie studio. The amount of NPCs they have on, the amount of pathing and AI, and I mean that's got to be for an indie studio. That's a big achievement. So anyway, go ahead, Seb. I just want to talk about that real quick.
Yeah, I've had that my eye on this game for quite a while now. Like this game looks like just a pure fun. Like you get to go back in time and fight and soldiers with like modern weapons, and it's you can run people over with a truck. Like that's just phenomenal. Like I'm surprised no one ever made this game yet. And it looks like a blast. Like like every single building you can go into, and every single building you can destroy in real time, and you can customize your own like fort, which that alone can be like hours of gameplay. This game looks like it's gonna be total fun. Like you can put like easily put 200 hours in this game. It looks like
Yeah,
it looks like pure fun, and I'm super into it. I've been waiting for this game for a while. I'm really excited for it. All right.
good stuff.
Moving on to System Shock 2. Obviously, this is a remaster, not a remake. So it's like it's the original game looks like, but like upscaled and looks better. System Shock 2 is one of the greatest horror games of all time, pure classic. And I'm glad that System Shock's getting love. Obviously, we just had a remake, and now we're getting System Shock 2. It would have been nice to get a remake, but I'll take a remaster. Uh, it definitely looks better. It does. I mean, obviously, it doesn't. It still looks, like an older game, but I think it looks really good. This is a classic. If you're into horror games, this is a must play. This is one of those marquee, iconic horror games with the evil rogue AI and basically like Half-Life. Fight aliens and stuff, robots. Dory, what about it appealed to you? Because this was on your list.
Was it on my list? Did I put it on my list?
Yeah, like
Oh, I did put it on my list. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of System Shock 1, but I've also been open that my PC at the time was not great. So it definitely could have been that. I kept having sound glitches and couldn't figure out what was going on. I got a refund. It's annoying the hell out of me.
yeah.
But I am interested still. I still think that these games are very important and definitely worth playing for a lot of people. I'm not sure if it's for me in terms of the kind of gameplay.
Yeah.
But since since I now have a mouse and I have a better computer, I would definitely give this a shot.
No worries. All right. The next game was Industria 2. Now this game looked like pure AAA. Like the graphics were really pretty, like really good. Like it feels like a big studio was working on it. Of course. I just love the whole vibe to it. It's a first-person shooter, but it takes place like like you're basically like in a basement, and you're fighting like I guess they're like I don't know what they are, but like they're like limping like mutants or something, robots. Either way, it has a really cool vibe to it. It looks great. It like a lot of fun. It's my kind of game. It just looks appealing. And then like at the end, there's like a giant robot walking around or a mutant. I don't know what it was, but it was like a Titan in the background. Then it got really it got crazy. Was that? It was reminding me of that game, Atomic Heart, but hopefully it plays better than that game. But it looked cool. Any interest?
This game definitely looked cool. It didn't grab me a lot just because we didn't
See much.
I didn't see enough gameplay or anything. But what I did see I liked. You know what's funny is I see a title like Industria 2, and I think to myself, oh, it's gonna be like it's gonna be like a like the
Yeah.
whatever that game was, suboptimal or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's instead a horror game. So I thought that was really curious.
South the Midnight they showed as well. We got new insight into like a new character like Benji. What was he like? He was like a hermit or something like that in the woods. He had like his own theme song, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. I mean, everything that I've seen in this game looks awesome. I'm already day one on this game. I'm sold. This looks like a great game. Dory, what about this?
I really like the. Sorry, go ahead.
What about this game appealed to you?
Yeah, I mean we've talked about it before. I love the setting. I love the idea of the game. I don't think it's gonna be a masterpiece by any means. I think it's gonna be a solid 7 or 8. But it's clear that Compulsion has taken a lot from We Happy Few, and I think to myself, oh, it's gonna be like a, it's gonna be like a suboptimal or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really curious. and they're really putting their all into this game. So I hope they knock it out of the park. I think We Happy Few had some cool ideas. I didn't play it personally, but it had some cool ideas, but it just didn't work.
Yeah.
The game was super buggy at launch and just generally was very rough
Yeah.
around the edges.
That's my only like big concern for this game is that like they've only made like 2 games, and the contrast was like really solid indie game, but it wasn't anything mind blowing. It was typical puzzle, use shadows to get to get higher to a platform, and then We Happy Few was a janky mess. So I'm curious if like they can pull off a legitimately great AAA game, but everything I'm seeing looks great. I just love the aesthetic, the Miles Morales, that 3D animation looks great. I love the narrative, the idea of it. The gameplay looks fun. It should be a good time. If it's not amazing, I think it's gonna be at the very least good. I'd be surprised if this game's disappointing, honestly, but we'll see. All right.
Yeah, like I said, I think it'll be 7s and 8s, but we'll see.
Yeah,
like you said.
that sounds right. Next game was Pioneer. Now, again,
I have a problem with this game. They don't spell Pioneer right. Now, it could be a stylistic choice, but Pioneer has 2 E's in it, not 1. This is my burgeoning English language arts coming out of a teacher coming out of me. But anyway, when it came to the end, I was like, Pioneer? Like, I don't know. It was weird. I'm sure it's just a stylistic choice, but it is very funny if it is supposed to be spelled with 2 E's and some intern or something just fucking forgot. Anyway.
It feels European, so maybe it's like a different language version of the word.
Maybe.
But either way, it looks pretty cool. I mean, the first-person shooter, horror vibe again. A lot of runs on these type of games in these 2 showcases, first-person shooter horror games. And it looked cool. It doesn't look anything amazing, but I keep my eye on it. And yeah, I just wanted to shout it out. And then Hell Clock, this also just the aesthetic of it interested me. I think it's from Brazil. It's a Brazilian game. I don't even think they were speaking English. I think they were speaking Portuguese.
Brazil mention. Sorry, I just wanted to be like a YouTube comment for a second there.
Yeah, I think they were speaking Portuguese in the trailer too. But I can't listen to the audio because we're doing the podcast. But I just look really fun. I'm not a huge roguelike fan, but I just love the top-down the top-down gameplay and the cool vibe to it, and it looks like a fun game to play. I just wanted to shout it out. This is again an awesome Steam Deck game for me, and I wishlist that as well. Keep an eye on it. It looked like it had like a Path of the Exile like viewpoint to it. All right.
I also want to say this looked very cool. It very reminiscent of Hades, of course, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the trailer. Roguelikes are kind of usually not for me because I hate starting over, and that's the whole point of roguelike. So those are very mixed for me. They got to be very, very good, or else I'm probably not game.
Yeah, I might not get this game, but I just want to keep my eye on it and see if it's good. Then we'll see. But yeah, this is a game I just wanted to shout out. Another game I wanted to it caught my eye. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it, but was Cloudheim. This definitely looks like Breath of the Wild, unapologetically. Like even the orcs or wherever they are look very similar to the enemies in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Even the gameplay looked like it.
But
definitely
give you some more vibes. There's a lot more. Excuse me. There's a lot more magic at play here than in a Zelda game, I think. And the combos are a bit more fluid, but yeah, I definitely see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean that the main reason it appealed to me, besides the Viking art style, was that the gameplay looked a lot of fun. It just looked a fun game to play with. I don't know if this is single player or not, but either way, it looked like a fun game to play, just like the combos and all the enemies on screen. And even though it looks like Breath of the Wild, like the gameplay looks so much fun that like you can get past the point. But the aesthetic looks nice. It just obviously, kind of tired of that art style because like a lot of games have been copying Breath of the Wild since 2017. So we've seen this kind of game a million times at this point. So that's the only thing that's
I feel like I've seen the trailer where the hero pops up out of nowhere, shows up with a parachute out of nowhere, and then just glides.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like that's the only thing hurting the game for me is that like I've seen it so many times. But I'll keep my eye on it, and then we'll go from there. All right, now this is the game. This is one of my games that have really appealed to me because I've kept my eye on this game for a while now. I feel like because I'm a huge zombie fan, and this game feels like different than any other zombie game. It's called Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days. Looks very narrative heavy. It's a side scroller game. Like first of all, how many zombie games have you seen that are side scrollers that look like this, but like more like a realistic vibe, but like also it's giving me like really Walking Dead vibes.
It gave me Walking Dead vibes, and it also gave me War is Hell or
Yeah,
War is Us or what the fuck is it? This War of Mine. This War of Mine.
yeah.
Gave me This War of Mine vibes. Meets Telltale Zombies.
I love this. I love the concept of this.
Yeah.
Like an art, like it's like a RPG kind of like in a way, like a choice system and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I love everything about this. This is day one for me if it's good, and we're getting early access on April 9th, so it's like right around the corner.
Yeah.
This looks really cool. I'm so digging this. Like the first time I ever saw it, I was like, wow, that really stands out. Because like, and saying that like with the zombie genre, where there's 5 million zombie games at this point, is really says something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I feel like this would appeal to you as well because you like narrative games, and this feels like something to be very narrative heavy with the choices and all that. So
Yeah, I'm a little more mixed on the side scroller aspect, but I mean, if this reviews well, or if like you give it a shot, if you bought it, I might give it a shot. I never tried this War of Mine, so I don't know if this will be for me or not. Side scrollers are a mixed bag, but I'm not saying no. It definitely didn't disinterest me. I did like the look of it, or a lot of it.
yeah. All right. Another game I wanted to shout out was Karma: The Dark World. Once again, more horror. Very horror heavy in these two showcases, and
Yes.
they didn't really show much, but it just looked cool.
Yeah,
Like,
it looks very cool, but it's very here and then there trailer, and not a lot
yeah,
to say about it.
that's only yeah. I don't have much to say because it's only like 10 seconds, but
Yeah.
one of these games is they could like looks like they show it looks cool in a trailer, and then it's like a mediocre game at best. So this is
Yeah.
something I keep my eye on, but the fact they only showed it for 10 seconds, didn't really do much for me. But I just wanted to keep my eye on it. And then the next one was Artist Impact.
No,
Which
you would think it would be artists, or it's artists in, or artistes, or I don't
RT.
fucking know, but it's not artist, even though you would think
Oh, I said
so.
artists. Like
Oh, okay,
I didn't say
artists.
yeah, but either way.
Never mind. So it's confusing.
But it looked really cool.
Where
It
is it on the fucking timestamps? That's what I'm looking for.
it so basically what it is, it's a pixel art mixed with a comic aesthetic. And then Dory played some of the demo. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Sorry, I muted myself because I was gonna press some buttons. Yeah, I played some of the demo. It's a turn-based RPG. It's got some open world-ish aspects. I mean, just in that you can move around the world, and it's not a linear game or anything like that. It's narrative-driven. There are lots of, um, you know, you're fighting a lot of AI. It seems you're part of this kind of division or something where you are constantly like fighting against robots, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know a ton about it because again I didn't finish the demo, but it's a cute little kind of interplay between the the main character and the sidekick character. And yeah, I can't find the trailer anywhere. I can't find it on the timestamps, but it was fun. I liked it. It was probably my second favorite. Oh,
Well,
I found it. Great.
they didn't really show anything in the trailer.
Oh, right. Artist was so quick. It was part of
It was,
this part.
it was
Okay.
part of a montage. It was like
Yes, that's
5
why I couldn't
seconds.
fucking find it on timestamps. But the animation's really pretty. I took a couple screenshots. It was really pretty. They should have called this Artist Impact because very impactful artistically speaking.
Yeah. All right. Well, it appeals to me, but I just didn't see much, so I was curious how the demo was.
Yeah, the
But
demo was good. It was my second favorite demo. I didn't get to finish it just because I had other things going on,
yeah,
but I enjoyed it.
cool. All right, another game that really looked cool was Standalone, which first of all, a really cool concept of like you play as a sheep in like a futuristic setting, and it's a world dominated by wolves, and it looked like a Metroidvania. I guess that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
The animation was really crisp, and the gameplay looked a lot of fun. It looked like a fun, beautiful, obviously a perfect like Steam Deck game. It was like a blast to play. I was getting Hollow Knight vibes to it. It looks
Yes.
awesome. I really like this, and it's definitely a game I wish listed now. And you can play test it now. It looks like so.
I was getting some Nine Soul vibes
Yeah, Nine
as
Souls,
well.
great game.
Yeah, it looks. I really loved the pixel art. I don't know if this game is for me. I still have Nine Souls on my installed games, and I've had it there for like a couple months because I'm nervous to even try it. But yeah, it looked really cool. But it's not my typical genre though.
Yeah. All right, and then Reanimal. I've talked about this game in the past and how excited I am for this game. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge Little Nightmares fan. This is from the previous devs of Little Nightmare, and obviously, this is basically Little Nightmares 3 without being Little Nightmares 3. There's a whole saga to that with the company and everything. But either way, this is like Little Nightmares 2.5 basically. But instead, this game is like pure co-op. It looks like you play with your friend. Would you have any interest in playing this with me?
Uh, I could be persuaded if it gets good reviews. I could be persuaded.
I,
It's not like
I'm pretty
it's not
confident
that
it'll
I
be good.
don't. What's that?
I'm pretty confident it will be good. Like I'm pretty.
Yeah, I mean, the first two were fairly well acclaimed. Yeah, I'm not usually into the whole I don't know, running away from monsters kind of thing. Not that I hate it or anything, but just it doesn't usually appeal to me. But I think it looks great, of course. I didn't know there was a whole saga thing going on between them and the company. So actually that's what interests me more than the game itself. But
I
but yeah,
yeah,
I think it looks great. And
yeah
obviously
sure.
I hope they knock it out of the park with their own endeavors.
I'm forgetting what happened, but basically, like the company that publishes Little Nightmares wanted them to do something different or something. I don't remember. We talked about this
Right.
before, but like, they branched off basically. Uh,
Okay.
it looks like Little Nightmares. Like it literally, it's just Little Nightmares.
Yes.
But I mean, Little Nightmares is such an amazing game. I mean, yeah, you do get chased by monsters, but like it's just the aesthetic and the vibe and the creepy world, so different than everything else. It's so appealing. Like it has like a really gothic, dark vibe, like aesthetic to it, and it's so cool. I love it so much, and the storyline is like actually legitimately good, and like even though it's like there's like no dialogue at all, like I don't think there's any dialogue, and but the storyline is like it's really sad and emotional, like children being like taken and eaten, and there's a lot of commentary. It's a lot of really good stuff. It's
Yeah.
really cool stuff, and this game looks like great. Only thing I was wondering is like, is this game co-op only? Like, do I have to play with somebody to play this game? That would be kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I have a similar question about a game that we'll talk about at the end of the showcase too.
Yeah. All right. We're almost done with the showcase.
Yeah.
We got two more games. We got
Yeah.
Chronos, the New Dawn, which we've talked about in the past. This game looks really cool. I didn't care for how they showed it here, only because I don't like when people are talking. I rather the game just speak for itself. Usually, I'm not a big fan of like dev diaries and interviews like that. Other people are into that, not me. Just let the game do the talking. Because they didn't really get to show much, but like for what they did show, the third person combat looked cool. Obviously, this is my favorite genre: cinematic third person shooters. Especially with like obviously Resident Evil 2 remake, Dead Space, Resident Evil 4 remake, the new Silent Hill 2 remake. That kind of stuff really appeals to me. Like that's my genre. So this is like so up my alley. It's not even funny, but they really didn't show much here.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked what I saw, and they did show some more during
The post show,
the
yeah.
later portions, but it still wasn't that much. It was still yeah, like you said, frustrating. I don't mind it as much as Seb does, but I do sympathize with let the gameplay do the talking. I understand that point of view. I did like hearing what their influences were, like The Thing and Dead Space and
Yeah.
Dark, the Netflix series from Germany about time travel.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really
Great show.
interesting.
It's a great
Yeah,
show.
I haven't seen it, but it's been on my list forever. I'll go back in time and tell myself to go watch it earlier. So yeah, it looks really cool, and I never thought I'd say this, but I'm really excited for a Bloober game.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they earned their good graces. Silent Hill 2
Yeah.
remake was a really great game, and maybe they found their. Well, I won't say they made horrible games. They didn't make horrible
No,
games.
no, they were never
They
terrible.
were
They
just
just weren't.
mediocre or
Yeah, they're just
average.
mediocre. I mean, they literally made a game called The Medium. I mean, they knew what they were doing. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
Which I still don't hate that game. I just think
No,
the
no, no.
story
But
choice
it's
at the
just
end was bad. It
it's
soured
yeah,
it.
they just made some very bad story choices and
Yeah.
some game choices that were not nearly as inventive or original as
Yeah.
I think they were banking on. But yeah, but this looks great, and I want to focus on the present slash future. Chronos looks really good. I'm excited for it. I love the deep diver. It's giving me Bioshock vibes.
Mm.
The kind of the Big Daddy thing. I don't think you can
Yeah.
call enemies Big Daddy anymore. But anyway, but for so many reasons. But
Yeah.
this looks great.
It does have
In
a
all
Bioshock.
seriousness, this looks great.
Yeah, it does have a Bioshock vibe to it for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, this looks. Yeah, this is like day one for me. If it's good,
Yeah. If
this
it's good, I'm
this
also day one.
is up
Yeah.
my alley, 100%. And then the final game, which is also up my alley, is Painkiller. Painkiller, if you don't know, is a series similar to Doom, first person combat. This is a reboot. They're rebooting the series. At first when they said it was a remake in the showcase, but like if you look up information on the game, it's considered a reboot of the series. This is kind of like Doom's 2016, where like they rebooted the whole series. This is exactly what this game is. It's a pure reboot of a classic first-person shooter. If you like Doom, you will like this game. Basically, like this is pretty much Doom.
Yeah, I have no idea about this game. I didn't grow up playing it. Apparently, it came out in 2004. But
I don't think I played the original game, but I do know of it. I think it came out in the early 2000s. I want to say it was like that.
yeah,
But maybe I'm misremembering.
yeah, I definitely never played it. I was never even aware of it as a game. But it looks great. My main question is co-op required? Do you have to? Do you have to do it with somebody else? Is it online? Is it like what are we doing here? So there just weren't enough details for me personally, but I liked it and I liked what I saw, and I do enjoy Doom as a matter of fact, Seb. So I'm interested in this.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's online, you and I can play, or I can
I
try to
don't.
find someone else to play, or I don't know.
It sounds like it. Going by the information I'm seeing, it says it features online co-op. So if it's featuring it, that means it's not the main focus. It's just like
Okay.
a feature of it. So it sounds like it should be a single player game.
But yeah, I think the most recent game from the Painkiller series was 2012, which has a mostly positive. So yeah, about a 13-year-old, 13 years since that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, it looks cool. It definitely interests me. It's a good game to end on. People are excited for it. That grew up with it. It came out. Let's see. Came out in 2004
yep,
on the PC.
yeah, PC.
Yeah. So in 2004, I was like World of Warcraft and MMOs. So
Yeah,
something
I
would.
think a lot of people were.
All right. So that concludes our showcases, our news topics. So let's spotlight some games now. Dory, you've been playing Wintermoor Tactics Club. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
All right, Suki, tell us about it, please.
Sure. So Wintermoor Tactics Club. This is a game that came out back in 2020, and it is a game that combines visual novel elements, D&D kind of aesthetic from the 80s specifically, and obviously a tactical RPG gameplay. Not typically my thing. I do like turn-based and I like action, but typically I don't get into tactical RPG stuff, the ones where you are kind of like on a chessboard and you're moving all around and stuff like that. But I took a chance with this. I believe, yeah, somebody from the Draft Punks recommended this to me, and I added it a long time ago and just never got around to it until recently. but it is turn-based and tactical, as I said. Characters, you're basically having an ever-expanding party of adventurers. You're kind of playing. It's kind of like you're playing, first edition D&D. It's the equivalent of, D&D, except, don't sue us. It's called Curses and Catacombs. Obviously, a lot of experience, a lot of inspiration there. There's a lot of good humor in this game. It's very funny. It's, gets pretty poignant at a couple of times. There's a lot of different identities that are explored through this, which was difficult, especially in the 80s. I would say the combat is not particularly tough, although it does have a tactical feel to it. You can use certain creatures have magical armor or physical armor, and you've got to use the right kind of. You don't have to, but it helps obviously if you use the right kinds of attacks on the right kinds of monsters, and you don't mix the two up. I never overly worried about it, but it did have an impact on combat. There are accessibility features. There's a no-fail mode where you can get your health knocked down to 1, but you can't fail, so you can't die. And I did have to do that for one of the fights near the end, which it was like, I think the penultimate fight, ironically, not the last fight. I barely beat that, and I beat it like without any no-fail mode stuff. But the second to last fight just felt punishingly difficult, and it took too long for you to get the benefits that they wanted you to get from your allies. There's a lot of, basically the plot is that you're in a tactics club, obviously, at this academy called Wintermoor, if you couldn't figure that out. And the principal puts together this big snowball tournament to decide who is the ultimate club. And it's kind of mysterious why he's doing that and for what purpose. Basically, if you lose in the tournament, you lose your club forever. And so a lot of the students are like, well, why is he doing this? Like, what's going on here? So there's a deeper mystery about what's going on at the school that takes up a lot of focus. There's a lot about, like I said, different identities, about bullying. There's a lot of side stories about people's, people's image and stuff like that you develop and cultivate through high school. There's a lot of great characters in this game. That makes the side quest very inventive and fun. You've got the student who's running an underground fighting ring, and a student who's super obsessed with dogs, and another student who's like really like, or really annoying and condescending, even though she doesn't think she is or doesn't mean to be. It's a preppy school, so there's a lot of that there. The plot and central mystery were very engaging. I was very interested in what was going on. I did kind of lightly spoil myself just because I wanted to know how many chapters there were and how close I was, but I could have put that together anyway, and basically did. The music was nice. There's not a lot of tracks, but that kind of makes you appreciate when an individual character or a set of characters have their own theme song. You're like, oh, okay, things are serious right now.
Yeah.
At least that's what happened for me. I do think there's some problems. It's a really great game overall, but it has a couple minor issues. I would say the combat does get a little repetitive at the end. You can choose, by the end of the game, you can choose between 6 characters, and that's great. But some of them just don't match up to the later ones, or at least that's how I felt. Some of the earlier characters just got left in the dust for me. So it made for some repetitive-ish gameplay. Still fun, but, not very innovative. I already talked about the late game fight, the penultimate fight. Felt a little unnecessarily tough. Felt like there was a sudden difficulty spike, and then I was able to beat the last fight without using no-fail mode. It's not a big deal, but I would have liked there to be VA, because every now and then there's just characters going, ah, and oh, and it's just kind of distracting. It's not great. I'm not saying it's terrible. It doesn't ruin the game, but it does show that it's kind of an indie thing, that there's no real voice acting. Also, some of the animations look out of place or a bit rough. They kind of remind me of Pokemon, where one character is trying to push another character out of the way. So that's not great either. But overall, those are minor complaints, and I'm able to completely look it aside. There's only really one ending. Your choices, I don't know how much they matter. It's not really about the choices. It's more about the combat and the characters and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure the ending remains the same. But you do get all these funny, sometimes depressing epilogues for all of the characters that you meet along the way. And yeah, it was just a really fun game. I I did find that late game fight frustrating, but that was really the only fight that I found unnecessarily difficult. Everything else felt really well balanced. And like I said, there are accessibility features if you feel like things were too tough. But yeah, Wintermoor Tactics Club was really good, and I recommend it to anyone who likes a bit of tactics in their game, but it's not overwhelming and it's not super difficult most of the time. So I also really like the animation style. It's very clean, very just nice. It gives a very cozy feel. So I really appreciate that. Um, yeah, that's about it. Wintermoor Tactics Club, very good.
Yeah, it looks really cool. You took you about 9 hours. It looks like on Steam,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
yeah. How long to beat says about 10. So yeah, I did it. I did a completionist run. I'm not a completionist because I didn't get all the achievements, but I did do all of the main stories and all the side missions. There's some other stuff you can do where you can get certain equipment or certain moves for your characters, but you have to do like particularly challenging, uh, setups basically, and you have to succeed within certain parameters. I did some of those, but I never really used any of my ultimate attacks that you get from that.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I You have it on Steam, so I can check it out myself. I do like tactics games, so it looks really cool. It has like a like you said, Dungeons and Dragons. Well, it's not Dungeons and Dragons, but it's like basically a tribute to it, right? Basically, like in a
Yeah, in a
more
nutshell, this is basically
cartoony
a
way.
tribute. Yes, it's basically a tribute to the 1980s. Um, 1980s version of D&D.
Awesome. Yeah, this looks cool. What would you give it like out of 10? Like an 8?
Uh like an 8, 8.5 maybe if I could give it do decimals. I wouldn't give it a 9. There's too many kind of smaller issues with it, but
Yeah.
overall, I really enjoyed it and thought it was a great game.
How much was it?
I don't remember. I bought it a while ago, to be honest with you, but I don't remember it costing that much. Pretty sure I got it on sale, at least like a couple years ago.
It
But yeah, I got it for
it's 15 bucks.
I got it for $6.
It's $15 right now, like full
Yeah,
price.
I got it for 6. So I would wait. I mean, 15's not bad, but I wouldn't buy it for 15 personally. But I think 10 or under is pretty good.
Yeah, this is cool. All right, let's close out my game, which is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now, this is a huge game, um, an awesome game, one of the best games of the year so far. If you don't know, it's a historical, like very accurate, very similar to Red Dead Redemption 2. Open world game. It's an RPG set in 15th century Bohemia. Once again, you're continuing the journey of Henry, he's a blacksmith's son, and he gets basically thrown into like a war torn country. Like he just gets in the middle of conflicts. It has realistic combat. It has very deep storytelling, and has a choice driven gameplay. You make your choices constantly matter because you have karma. Basically, you form a reputation. So if you do something the wrong way, your reputation goes down. If you do something the right way, your reputation goes up. It refines the mechanics of the first game, so it has better swordplay and the archery and interactions are better, but it keeps that same realistic combat and that same daily life and decision making aspects to it. You have to eat, you have to drink, you have to sleep. It's realistic. This combat is very much so like super realistic, where how you hold a sword a certain way to hit it to block a move correctly, how to tackle a shield a certain way, how to repose a certain way. It's very much so a realistic battle simulator of how it was back then, right? And that's not for everybody. If you're looking for like an action packed, uh, really arcadey, over the top action game, this is not it. This is very much a simulation. If you're in, this is the game for history buffs. Like if you love medieval history, you'll love this game. It's like I said, a simulation. But even if you don't like that, I think the storyline is really good. Like every character is really well developed. They're well voice acted, well acted. This game is triple A. The side characters are all engaging. every like side quest is engaging. I felt like so far. I put 50 hours into it. Um, very realistic. Uh, it's very historically accurate of Bohemia. The details really pretty. Like this game is gorgeous. The combat like is not for everybody, like I said, but it is really cool to master. It really is immersive. It really you really feel like a knight in that era. And obviously the visuals, as I talked about in the audio, are incredible. This is one of the best looking games I've ever seen environmentally. Like it's gorgeous. This game is amazing. This is one of the games why I invested in a high end PC. Game is just it's visually stunning. It's not like super colorful in the sense that like it's not like a horizon. It's not going for like a different world. It's a lot of greens, a lot of woods area, that kind of stuff. But it looks great. The gameplay is challenging, so you have to be patient in your combat. You cannot. It's not Devil May Cry. It's like I said, very realistic. I haven't had any bugs. I really have no crashes. It's been a really smooth experience. But it has this moments where there's some jankiness with the character models, and there's some I haven't had a lot of bugs, but like they're there. I mean, every game in the open world is gonna have that. It's just no way to avoid that. Now some of my criticisms of the game. This is very subjective to the person, but there is a steep learning curve. If you're not into this kind of game, you're really gonna hate this game. Like if you don't like the combat, you're really not gonna like this game, I feel like. But if you really get invested in it, you really like this game. It's not for everybody. Someone has to really try it out and see if they like it before they play it. The gameplay is very, very slow. So you might find this game very tedious. It's very much so like Red Dead Redemption 2, where you have to travel a lot. So there's a lot of downtime where you're just like traveling from one town to another. There is fast travel, but there's still plenty of walking to a new location. I mean, it's like realistic, right? It's meant to be like you have a horse and everything, but it's obviously you're not zipping, and it's not Spider-Man. You're not zipping across the map or anything like that. This game does not hold your hand. It's not for casuals. It throws you in the world, and you have to figure out the quest. You have to figure out where to go, how to solve things. For people that struggle with direction, or like especially with like in a video game, this is not the game for you. You're probably gonna need a guide. I've needed a guide at times. That's like my biggest issue. Some side quests are like they put like a hidden. They'll put like they'll be like, you need to dig up this grave and get the body or whatever, and I have no idea what the hell the grave is, and it doesn't tell you. It points you in a general direction. It gives you like on the map like a color area, but the colored area is so vast that like it could be any of these spots in the grass, and it just doesn't tell you where it is. Basically, the waypoint system could be better, and that was frustrating at times. It's like so half the time I'm looking at guides for this game because like I have no idea what they want me to do. So that could have been better. I talked about how the animations could be clunky at times. Like they look janky at times. Like it's a AAA game, but like you could definitely see character models act up a little bit. It looks like obviously they don't look like real people. They look like video game characters. And the fast travel, like I said, is very limited. It's just going for the realistic kind of game, but it's going to be inconvenient if you're not into that kind of game where it's like slow paced and you're just riding across the map. It's not for you. And then finally, my issue is the AI, the behavior. They can feel really repetitive or unnatural. They feel like NPCs in the game. I mean, obviously it's a video game. We're not there yet where everything's like perfect, but it's definitely jarring at some times. But for the most part, this is a really rewarding narrative game. This is one of the best narratives of the year. This definitely better be nominated for best narrative. I'd be upset if it's not. I think the protagonists are really awesome. I think Henry's a great character. His relationship with Sir Hans Copon is amazing. Like the two of them are awesome. Like if you watch the documentaries and like the advertisement for this game, it is gorgeous. And and the two actors, obviously they use their character, like they play the characters, and they use their likeness as well. So like it feels like the two characters in the modern world when they're in the videos, like being interviewed. But like they really went out of their way to travel Europe and cop and like give us what it would actually look like. And well, let me rephrase that. They already are in Europe because it's like a European game. But I'm saying like they went to the locations and gave us like what that city, like the actual spot in a modern setting, what it looked like back then, like what, 600 years ago. So it's really awesome. I think Dory, you probably won't like this game because of the directions problems that I've talked about. You'll
Yeah.
probably be frustrated with that, and you probably be frustrated with the fact that fast traveling is very limited and you have to travel a lot. But
Yeah, this kind of game is not for me. I already knew that, but the way you're describing it, definitely not.
but
Yeah.
the narrative and the choice based system, which really matters, the choices in this game really matter. Like I haven't played a game like this since like Baldur's Gate 3, where the choices really matter. Even the small things, like everybody like remembers what you did, or one wrong decision can lead to like the whole mission being ruined or quest being ruined, and like someone gets killed. The choices really matter. Like the narrative of this game would really appeal to you. I feel like
Yeah.
you would really love that.
I think the gameplay though would just be a complete turn off.
Yeah, but for me, this is top three game of all not all of time. The top three game of the year for me. This is definitely my top three. Um, I can't say it's my game of the year yet. I mean, I put a lot of time into it, only because I think Split Fiction was so much fun, like pure fun for like 13, 14 hours straight. So, this is my second favorite game of the year so far. I'll be surprised if it's not in my top five. I can see this game being nominated for Game of the Year. It has like a high 80s on Metacritic. It was like 90 at last I checked, but it might have fell. But either way, it's a highly rated game. It's just not for everybody. I feel like this game is not going to get the attention. It's going to be. I feel like this game is going to be one of those games where it's not going to get the attention it deserves because of it. Because it's so like historically based and realistic. Yeah, that it's not going to appeal to most gamers. A lot of gamers nowadays like are not as patient. Obviously, I'm a teacher, so I have the patience of a saint. But but most people don't have that kind of like level with patience with games, and it's gonna. I feel like this game's gonna get overlooked, sadly. And the soundtrack of this game's phenomenal too. I hope the soundtrack gets some love too. So overall, this is an amazing game. This is a 9.2, like a low nines for me. So it's really that it's in that higher tier. It's like the as good as it gets in terms of also like a perfect score. For me, it's gonna be my top five. It's phenomenal. It's a great game. I didn't play the first game, and I still understood everything going on. I'm very invested in the story and very invested with the characters, the world. You forget that it's just like a realistic historical game. Like it's not like a fantasy. There's no dragons or anything. And I'm always engaged. They do such a great job with the writing. Like Dory, I think it's like Pentiment. Like you really,
Yeah.
like you really like Pentiment. You would really like this game. I think you should at least try like a little bit of it. You probably won't like beat it or anything, but like just like see how you like it for like the first couple hours and then go from there. But I don't personally think you will like it because of the gameplay. But I think like you can try it for a couple hours and see how you would maybe it clicks with you or not, because you'll know right away. They do a good job like introducing things like how the mechanics work and the world. It does.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I don't think it would do a lot for me in terms of the combat. I'm not really into the realism aspect either,
Yeah.
but I do appreciate stuff like the soundtrack or the narrative and choice based stuff.
Yeah. So overall, this is a great game. I recommend everybody get it. But like I said, it's very subjective if you like it or not. This is not going to be. I feel like this game's going to get overlooked because it's not. It's a slower game. Very realistic. But Red Dead Redemption 2 got a lot of love, and that game is similar. So just be mindful. This kind of game, you have to like eat and sleep and drink and make your character does bleed to death if you don't put a bandage on. Your character does get tired. Your character Henry does get really hungry and sleepy and thirsty. So you have to maintain that, which it's not going to appeal to everybody as well. So it is that kind of game. But if you can pass that point, it's a great game. So that's everything for our show. Thanks for watching, everybody. Next week, the plan is to talk about Atomfall.
Yes.
I personally won't be playing that. I'll get it when it's on sale. But Dory is going to be playing it, I think, on Game Pass.
Game Pass.
So she'll be able to talk about it then. In the meantime, I'll be enjoying my spring break this week. I'm off for a whole week, plus the 2 weekends. So that's 4 extra days on top of the 5 days. So 9 days overall. And I got Monday off too. So I'll be playing some games. And I'll talk about what I was playing on the next episode. And that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. You have a good night, Dory.
Bye, everybody.
And peace.